Books here at Leeds Central Library, you'll find their companions which tell stories of every human experience, emotion and aspiration. The whole of life is on those shelves, but if I had to choose just one book in which I can find all of that, plus plenty of good questions along with some even better answers, then the one that I'd choose is this, a hymn book. This week, hymnologist Gordon Childs, his parishioners at St Mary Magdalene in Enfield, and congregations from all over the country with a selection of traditional hymns we can turn to, whatever the reason. For me, it's the reasons why hymn words were written that's most fascinating. For example, take this special collection here at Leeds Library of Jewish books, many of them on Hebrew psalms.
Without the Psalms, we probably wouldn't have any hymns. The Psalms have been described as the hymn book of the Jewish Bible, and the Israelites, before and during exile, sang psalms. And of course, the Psalms reflected every emotion that they could possibly have, from terror to joy to excitement. In Babylon, as exiles, they sang, "How can we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land?" So we have the complete range of emotions in the Psalms, and some of these Psalms are a bit like the blues, really. They were, wanting to express their great disappointment and sadness about what was going on to them.
17th century hymn writer Nahum Tate certainly had a lot of ups and downs in his life because he went from being poet laureate to dying in a debtor's refuge. He found great inspiration in those ancient psalms, like Psalm 34, on which he based our opening hymn, sung for us now by the congregation of Coventry Cathedral.
I've been writing articles and books on hymns for a few years now with the Bible Reading Fellowship, with the Royal School of Church Music and with the Hymn Society as well, because I love hymns and they just fascinate me, and I love singing hymns and I love writing about them and learning about them because they contain so much information, so much theology, so much prayer, so much love in hymns. People often say that St. Augustine wrote that anyone who sings prays twice. It's debatable whether St Augustine actually said that, but nevertheless it's a great line, and it's true. So to sing is to pray twice. But it occurred to me in some of the work I've been doing over the years that a prayer written after a hymn kind of makes it that you're praying thrice, 3 times. You have praying, you have singing, and then you have praying after singing.
Our next hymn is sung by a West Yorkshire congregation gathered together for praise and prayer at Halifax Minster. Well, the words of that hymn were written by a young American woman, Love Maria Willis, who joined the ranks of many women writing hymns on both sides of the Atlantic around the time of Queen Victoria's reign.
Another woman hymn writer who we might think of was Catherine Winkworth, who you may not have heard of, but she was responsible for translating many of the German hymns that we now sing and love. Now Thank We All Our God, for example. Cecil Frances Alexander, who was known as Fanny, she was a great hymn writer of the 19th century and wrote a set of hymns for children based on the Creed, of which some hymns we still sing. There is a Green Hill Far Away was based on the part of the Creed about the crucifixion. All Things Bright and Beautiful, which we know and love still, was about creation. Once in Rod David's City was about the birth of Christ. These hymns are still very much with us, were written for children so that they might learn the stories of the Bible and the tenets of the faith. Charlotte Elliott, who wrote Just As I Am, was an invalid for much of her life. When Charlotte was ill, she met a man called Louis Malan, and when she was having a crisis with her faith, as she was being ill, she asked him, how can I come to God? And he said, just come to God as you are. And she remembered that phrase and built it into this very famous hymn, much loved hymn, which I think we can all sing from the heart. Just, Jesus, I come to you as I am. And that's how, of course, Christ calls us. He doesn't call us to be anything else other than who we really are.
Charlotte's brother, who was a vicar, later acknowledged that this one hymn she wrote touched more hearts than he had in a lifetime of ministry. This version of Just As I Am, set to the simple folk tune Saffron Walden, featured in our School Choir of the Year competition in 2011. And it's sung by the High School of Glasgow, which this year went on to win Senior Choir of the Year.
Just as I am, without one plea, but that thy blood was shed for me, and that thou bidst me come to thee, O Lamb of God, I come.
So it seems that hymns can be a kind of spiritual first aid kit for when we're feeling at our lowest. But in fact, the very definition of the word hymn is song of praise.
I like hymns that raises up, not suppressing it. Good music, good hymns, good words, and good singing.
A good tune, something that's easy to follow, everybody can join in.
Singing is a very communal act, and when the whole church is singing together, it moves you from a very personal space into the body of Christ, a common place.
We sing together familiar hymns, we say together familiar words, and then those words remain with us and those tunes remain with us throughout the week as a great encouragement and as a great inspiration.
It just uplifts you so greatly. And then you go home and remember those people that you were singing it with.
Singing with other people. That's part of the pleasure to me, is doing it with other people and singing in parts and feeling the harmony.
When the congregation is singing it, you can feel the Spirit coming down to you, to buoy you up, to inspire you.
There are few hymns more stirring than Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven, and it's sung now by the congregation of St Anne's Roman Catholic Cathedral, just next door to the library here in Leeds.